Mike, thank you so much for joining here. I'm super excited because I know you have your big event coming up, Social East, and that's in a couple days.
Yes.
I'm super excited.
Yes.
So you're swinging by here. Really, really appreciate that. So thank you for joining. But
My pleasure.
Before we get started, can you just tell our audience a little bit about who you are and what it is that you do?
How long do you have? No, my name is Mike Morrison, and I'm the president of SocialNext, and we run conferences across the country, 5 in 2025, and we'll be adding a sixth in 2026. Our second biggest one is here in Halifax. It's called Social East. We get about 500 people coming, maybe 600 this year. Marketers from all across Canada come, and it's and I don't know, it's sort of, I guess we'll get into it, but like it's an evolution of the things I've been doing in my whole life sort of have culminated in this. Like it's my company now, but like I literally had to like get my friends to bully me into saying I'm the president of SocialNext. Like that was very hard for me to say.
What were you saying before?
Just like, oh, I'm just like a blogger and I started an event and I don't know, come if you want. Like it was like that. Honestly, that
really
was like
selling it, eh?
That was like the pitch. Like it was like, and I was like, this is very annoying. I was annoying myself doing it, so I had like a friendervention, I called it, and they virtually, and they all yelled at me for like an hour, and it was like what I needed. So I don't know, when I say that, I'm talking so much for one question. But when I say that, I picture like people picturing me going through an interview process, getting the job, stuff like that. Like, and I'm like, no, it's just me and like one other person. Like, it's just like, yeah. So it's everything has been so fun with all of this. So yeah.
How awkward do you still feel when you're saying things like, oh, I'm the president of this big company, and you said it's only just the two of you? Does that still make you feel awkward?
Very awkward. Yeah. But I've learned, I mean, I need to say it, stuff like that for like sales purposes, like now I'm talking to big American companies who are sponsoring our events and things like that. And I honestly think there's a big shift in me just saying that sentence with confidence. I can sit down with people easier. I can talk about business easier. I was downplaying how much I know about business, and I'm still going to do that in this podcast because like I didn't go to business school or anything. So like
a lot of people don't though. It's okay.
A lot of people don't. And so yeah, I mean it's been a real big shift in like just like giving myself a spot at the table in a way, even though I just never really understood. People would be so excited to work with me or work with the event and things like that, and I didn't get it. I still don't get it to some degree, but having to say that makes me understand why people would be more interested in a way. Like, yeah. We're gonna circle back to that. Okay, great.
Some interesting stuff too. Before you said, you introduce yourself as a blogger. So you've done blogging, you've done stuff on TV.
Yes.
I think you've done marketing as well too.
Yeah.
So you've done a whole bunch of stuff. So what is it that led you to starting SocialNext from your past? I guess?
So like I'll try to tell this very quickly. I'm from New Brunswick, went to St. Thomas University, graduated with a degree in Spanish, and I think that set me off.
Seems relevant, yeah.
Yeah. Very, very normal degree to get at a small Catholic school in New Brunswick, Canada, do first class honors degree in Spanish. So I think that sort of set me up for a trajectory of like almost going with the flow. Like from that point on, people are like, what's your degree in? Like, and I still bring it up as like as a party fun fact. Like, hey, I speak Spanish, and like it's not as good as it used to be, but and then I moved to Calgary and I did the oil and gas thing. I did the bank thing, but I have like never felt comfortable in the 9-to-5 ever. And I never knew why. And it just was sort of a cog in the wheel. And I thought that's what life was. And so when I was in Calgary, I didn't know very many people. This is 2005. So like blogs were very new. There was no concept of making money from them or anything like that. It was just a place like a megaphone kind of thing for your friends.
Right.
This is even before Facebook. So it was
the MySpace era.
But I wasn't really into MySpace. Like, I don't know. But I liked writing. And so I started writing a blog, and it was like about moving to Calgary, I remember writing about, hey guys, there's a new show called The Office. You should watch it. Like live blogging, Canadian Idol, like all that sort of stuff. And through that, like just the opportunity started coming incrementally, really like slowly. And I just was a kind of like saying yes to everything. And I still almost say yes to everything because I'm like, yeah, we'll figure it out. So that led to me eventually getting a job at Breakfast Television in Calgary. I was a TV producer for 3.5 years. Absolutely no experience whatsoever.
I was going to say, that's something that you've never done before.
Never done before. I was like, if they listen to this, I would say I was like the nicer one to the interns. But I was also like learning from them. Like I was like, what do you call this thing on the bottom of the screen? They're like a chyron. I'm like, cool. And like they're like, how are you getting paid? And I'm not. I'm like, I don't know. Like I have no idea.
Well, what do you think that is a testament to? Does that says something about like your personality or like your work ethic?
So over the years, I honestly think about this a lot because I mean, when you listen to business podcasts or business, like it seems like everyone has this really defined plan. Or like these milestone markers that they want to achieve. And I've never had that. I'm fully along for the ride. You know, I've lost everything. I've gained everything. I've been through all of it. And I think just sort of saying yes. And like, honestly, it's so silly, but being nice to people, like people really like working with me. Like even when I was younger and I was doing like the Mike's Bloggity, I was being invited to the Junos and the red carpet and stuff like that. And like I started at the last media outlet, you know, like, so no one talked to me because by the time they get to me, the show starts. And then when I was done doing that, I was like beside CTV, Global, Globe and Mail, things like that. And like, I still don't know what I did except like not be an asshole and like ask good questions. And you know, like celebrities started to get to know me. So I remember like Metric and Blue Rodeo, like their publicists like passing, you know, shuffling them along. They're like, no, we want to talk to Mike. Like, and they would come back, you know, and I would just like, it was like a kid from New Brunswick who started a blog. I'm like, this is crazy that you want to hang, like, you know, like you want to talk to me and stuff like that. And I think
that makes you feel good though.
Makes me feel really good. Like definitely makes me feel really good. Like I'm a big pulp culture person, big entertainment person. And when you grew up in New Brunswick, again, before the internet, like the internet changed everything. You can live anywhere and be as famous as you want to be now. But then it was like just such a far off concept that I couldn't believe it was happening. And a lot of this blog stuff that I was experiencing was while I was working full time. So like one time I got to go, Amex flew me to Spain to see Coldplay play in a bull ring. And I flew in, like I was working full time. So I took, I think 2.5 days off. I was working at the University of Calgary. And I like flew out Tuesday. The concert was Wednesday, flew back Thursday, was working Friday. Just like a student advisor, as if I wasn't in a bull ring 2 days ago with Coldplay, you know, like I'm just like, so I don't know, like my life has been that basically since university. And I kind of addicted to it in a way. I kind of love it. So just like my business advice for people, really my life advice is just say yes. Like just say yes. Like I don't mean working for free all the time. Yes. I mean like don't worry about the things that could go wrong or the like not having a full plan.
Just kind of dive in and go for it.
Yeah, exactly. Like I was on the final round of casting for this reality show recently. And one of the questions, they're like, oh, you don't really seem like that scared of anything. And I was like, well, no one has ever died on a reality show. So like, you're not going to kill me. Why would like, and you're going to make me sign 20 pieces of paper and you're going to sign, what's to be scared of? I'm like, huh? Like, I'm like,
I never thought about that way.
Yeah. I'm like, I don't know. Like, I'm not going to enjoy having a snake crawl around my head or something, but like, it's going to be for 5 minutes. That's fine. Like, and honestly, I don't, it's not a confidence thing. I would say it's more of a naive thing. Like it's sort of a, like, yeah, whatever. Like I've joked that I was going to start a podcast like called like, or a show called like, Fine, I'll Do It. Cause I'm just like, I'm always the person that's like, fine, I'll do it. I'll just go do it. I don't care. Like
that's really interesting because in the business entrepreneurial space, that's like the opposite advice that you get. Yes. You're like, learn how to say no because that's taking away from your time and it's taking away from the things that you need to do in order to get to where you want to be.
It's a money thing. So there is power in saying no, 100%. So like, I think a lot of people have to learn that if someone asks to work with you and you say no, that opportunity doesn't go away. That person made a bunch of decisions before they asked you. They're not going to just erase you if you say, hey, I'm too busy right now, or that's not the right job. but like how you wrap up that conversation is how they will come back to you. So like, I'm too busy, or that's not the right opportunity. And like, I'm basically sales now for our sponsorship. Like, that's basically all I do in the company. And I have to say no all the time to people because it's not a right fit. And I know what every sponsor's paying, and I know what every sponsor's asking for. And so I have to picture them sitting down for having a beer without my knowledge, and them being like, how much are you paying? How much are you paying? Like, those are the things I'm thinking about.
Interesting.
Like, so everything I do, I was thinking about this on my way here. Like, I don't think I've ever lied in my business. I really, really don't think I have. In life, big liar. No, but like, I would be too scared. Like, I can't.
It can come back and haunt you. Like, you never know what people are going to talk about behind your back. Well, they're going to get together.
And especially events, like a very common thing in events is to do like, only 50% left. Tickets are selling quickly. Hurry, hurry. And like, it's 3 days before event, and they're like, tickets are selling quickly. You're like, well, yeah, it's 3. So they're not selling. Like, to promote that and then have people walk in a room and then be of 30 people.
It's empty.
I would rather promote a 30-person event. Be like, hey, we're changing this into an exclusive event, like or just cancel it and cut your losses. For me, like, if you see on our site like 50% sold out, 45, I have done the math. Like, maybe I'll exaggerate by 5%, you know, because it like the room
nice round number.
Depends on, like, I mean, we could add 10 chairs, we could take away 10 chairs, but like literally it's almost to the number. Because if a sponsor, like, we have sponsors now coming from all across North America, from Europe, and they're committing a lot of money to come here. If I misled them about the numbers, I would never sleep, and this company wouldn't be what it is. Like, I think what we still have almost 10 years into this is people not expecting it to be as good as it is, as full as it is, things like that. Especially here in Halifax, like, when sponsors come or speakers come, they're like, you got 600 people in Halifax? Like,
that's crazy.
And so once we sort of pass that echelon of people believing that we were real, things have gotten a lot easier. But I think I just had to tell the truth the whole time. Lots of events have a surge of like a year or two, you know, just because they're maybe better at promoting themselves. But if they don't have the data to back it up, like, you can fool a sponsor or attendee once, you can't do it twice. So I think like, not reading business books and not going to business school and all that stuff, I think I just came at it with a much more like human approach.
Right.
So there weren't rules for me except like, be nice, don't lie.
Yeah.
You know,
truthful, be authentic, and not use those. I kind of find them as well, like those cheesy sales tactics.
Totally.
In the sense of like, oh, well, we need to have that fear of missing out, or we need to price it at 97 at the end or something, like all those weird tactics.
I don't do any of that. I don't care. Like, so definitely there's always a surge in tickets when we raise the price. So like that, we do that every like 3 to 4 weeks, depending on how close the event is. But like, you'll see events do it like, hurry, early bird ends tonight, and then the next morning goes up $5. You're like, that's you're like, but they're using that you know, tactic of like creating urgency, but they don't have the people to back it up, and then you sort of feel stupid in a way. You're like, oh my god, I rushed all that for $5 or something like that, you know, like. And the other rule we have is like, the ticket you buy will at this moment will always be the cheapest ticket. So you won't see a cheaper ticket after you buy your ticket.
Which makes sense.
Yeah, but like, honestly not common. You'll see a slower event or a concert or something.
Oh, they'll reduce the price.
Yeah, like a week before, but like, buy one, get one free, or like save $100 and things like that.
And it's like, it's punishing the people that are loyal, because they're the ones that are going to buy it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I think customers remember all of those little things.
Oh, they do.
All those incremental things. And I think when you come, like, there's another reason we don't use hyperbole in or exaggeration in any of our marketing. So we'll never say we're the best conference, we're the whatever conference, we're the biggest, we're, you know, the most whatever. Well,
things that you can factual verify.
Things, but you won't, like, I never say inspiration. I'll say motivation. Like, I think our conference will motivate you. I hope it inspires you, but that's not a tangible thing that I can measure. So like, I don't know. And all of this is just as me as a customer. like when I talk about stuff like this, like we're all customers at the end of the day. Like I've already been to a coffee shop and I went to Sobeys already today and like had already 5 interactions before I even met you today. And all of those people have their own ways of doing things in terms of business. So you have to think about them being a customer and like the origins. Like I had such a hard time raising our prices. Like I fully realized that we priced ourselves out of the original people that could come, and so we do other things because that really bugs me. But
what do you mean,
like,
price yourself out of the original people?
Just like this used to be $2.99 and now it's $5.99, but because we've gotten so big, we have to have bigger venues, and that comes with a cost, and we pay everyone involved. Every speaker, every person involved is being paid, so the expenses have gone way up. So if I had sold 500 tickets at $2.99, this would not exist anymore.
Right.
My team and the people that I work with, and they were like we were having the largest marketing conference in Canada, like 1,000 people, and I had no money to show for it because I was paying everybody else before I was paying myself and all that thing. Yep. So, and then my friend said this one
business lesson for you there.
Oh, great. Yeah. But I was like trying to find this balance of like, I just want everyone to come. Like, I don't want this to be about money. Yeah. Like, you know, like I was like,
I was going to say too, though, there's an interesting psychology thing when it comes to pricing, because if it's too cheap, even though you want to, but people are not even going to see the value or think like, well, why would I come to this? Because it's only $50 or whatever. But if it's 5,000, this must be really good because it's expensive. So how do you balance that?
There's a line there. I mean, to me, 5,000 is not good. Like not price point, but I'm like, you're not teaching me anything worth 5,000 in 24 hours. So we raised our prices, and when I say $2.99 to $5.99, that's over 5 years. We raised them slowly. I think the cheapest price for Social East starts at, I'm going to say $349 for a 2-day conference. I could be wrong. I don't remember.
That still seems
still solid and still low, but like we definitely struggle, and less now as we've raised prices, with legitimacy. So especially with the bigger companies being like, why is my hotel more expensive than your conference? Because people think conferences are $2,000, and lots are fine. I don't have a problem with those. I don't think I could have grown this to a place where it's very stable. We could have a terrible year and still be okay. And I couldn't say that 5 years ago. And I don't mean like money in the bank okay. Like I just mean like we've been through worse. We can figure out, like, if no one bought a ticket to Social East this year, the other 4 events would still be okay kind of thing. Yeah. And so there's not one thing that could necessarily wipe us out kind of thing, which is a place to get to, I think. Maybe if I say something horrible on this podcast, I guess. But even now, it's like, I think it's harder than ever to get canceled. So that's a different podcast. Anyway, so yeah, I think my friend said to me, it was Social West 2 years ago, and Social West is our big events in Calgary, and that alone is unique. You know, the Toronto, Vancouver of it all. Like, it took me years to get the head honchos from those cities to take Social West seriously, because they're like, why isn't this in Vancouver? Why isn't this in Toronto? I'm like, I don't know. It's in Calgary. Come. Yeah. And we don't move our events. They all stay in the cities. We now have events in Toronto and Vancouver, but they're smaller. Like Calgary is my hub. Yeah. But
that's where you were.
That's where I was for like 15 years. And like, definitely that it started with like, come to Mike's event. But now I'm barely involved, and we can talk about that. Like, I don't want to be the face of my company anymore. Like, I want other people, investors, whatever, to see themselves having a role in the company, and not, if I left 5 years from now, 10 years from now, like that the company would still be okay.
Well, that's great for you too, because if you ever do want to leave, you can actually sell it to somebody.
Exactly.
It's not just you.
Yeah.
Right?
And I mean, selling an event is a whole, like, doesn't really happen that often. So, but I'm trying to set it up for if that happens. I'm always thinking about the next thing. So, but after Social West, I was talking to a friend of mine. I was like, I'm like paying the bills, but like, how can I have that momentum, you know, all those people, and not be super rich, you know? Like, I was like, I just want to like buy $30 underwear without stressing myself out about it, kind of thing. It's
fancy polyester
It's underwear. A plug for Saks. At Saks, you should sponsor this. And he said, like, look, like, I'm the one that approves the tickets to come to your event, like professional development wise. He's like, I don't care if it's $550 or $850. Like, that's the same price to me. If it was $500 or $1,500, that's different.
Right.
He's like, so you could raise it $300 in one shot and like no one would even notice, because we're about 95% professional development.
Right. So there's the companies that are paying for it then.
The companies are paying for it. Yeah. And then he's like, but then don't alienate the people that brought you here. Like, if someone says, hey, it's too expensive for me now, give them a discount. Give them, like, yeah, what price makes sense for you kind of thing. Don't all email me that. I'm just saying, like, on a unique,
just email Mike and then
get on a unique thing. Like, and I'm going to say 5 people in the last 2 years have asked. Like, no one has really noticed or had a super strong opinion about this incremental price increase. But like, everything has gotten more expensive, and
I was gonna say, even inflation, people understand things are like twice as expensive.
Our first 2 years after the pandemic, our prices were the same, and that was causing everyone else to jack their prices. AV, venues, food.
Yeah.
And I was like, but we used to just be $390. Can we just stay at $399? Like, like
for forever.
Yeah. But like, once we sort of increased our prices, people started taking us more seriously. So there is a huge factor. I don't think Social West would be the closest one to creeping into 4 digits, and I don't think it's there yet. Like, we don't sell that many at that highest, like 950 level. By then we're usually sold out, luckily, knock on wood. But like, even then, there's not a huge demand for a 950 ticket in Canada. That's, people sort of associate that more with American prices and stuff like that. So yeah.
Okay. So we went off there for really, really cool stuff.
Question 2.
Question number 2 about when you were growing up. Yeah. No, let's just bring it back a little bit about before you even started Social East SocialNext. Is that the what's the umbrella?
The company, in theory, the company is called Bloggity Inc.
Okay,
publicly, I tell people it's called SocialNext. Okay. And then each of the cities have a different name, which is like, that's where business people would yell at me, and that's where I fully agree. But like, Calgary Social West, Halifax Social East. Then we have Social Pacific in Vancouver. But
it makes sense. So I got it when I first saw, SocialNext, and then there's the other branches. I got it right away. So I think,
great. Well,
because
you're very smart.
Before you started SocialNext, you were in the space too, like I said, blogging, but you also did a podcasting. And your podcasting, you told me this story when we had our chat beforehand, called I Quit.
Yes.
And it was just talking to entrepreneurs about that 24 hours, I guess, period of when they decided to finally, okay, I'm going to leave my job and start this full time. Yeah. The first thing I said was, damn it, that's such a great idea. I kind of want to do it. It's so cool. Yeah. But I want to talk about some of the stuff you've heard. But before then, I want to ask you, what was your 24 hours like when you decided to quit?
I think so. That was the origins of that podcast was, and we did 3 seasons, 2 seasons, and then the pandemic came, and I was like, well, this doesn't feel right. To be like, so many people just lost their jobs.
Like, everyone quit.
Let's hear from pretentious people who quit their jobs, And so, but then it became, we did a special season where it was like people who quit their jobs during the pandemic. So like with this huge uncertainty, how are you still able to navigate your brain to say, yeah, I'm still going to quit my job? Yeah.
Which is crazy. Yep.
I honestly, going back to like me sort of just always being the person that's like, fine, I'll do it. Like, I get asked a lot about, it was blogging, it was content creating, and then it was being an entrepreneur, and now it's events. And like, I'm open book. I'm happy to share anything, because I don't think what I'm doing is particularly unique or special necessarily, which, I mean, that's a whole other conversation. But and so I was like, well, I'm just gonna start a podcast where I would get asked a lot why, like, how do I quit my job? I want to do this, like, over coffee and stuff like that. And I'd be like, well, why don't you just, like, you're already going to do it. You reached out to a stranger for coffee. I'm sitting here and you want me to say, don't do it. I was like, but I'm not going to do that. I don't know your life. Do whatever you want. Like, but you're looking for someone to stop you. And I remember doing that. And I remember driving down McLeod Trail. So the question was, am I going to leave breakfast television to be a content creator full time? 2013, so still really early content creator economy days. So not certain, but I was like, okay, how much money do I need to make to pay my bills? Okay, I think I can make that on content creating. And I remember driving down McLeod Trail in Calgary and seeing thousands of little businesses and being like, each of these people decided at some point to start this. I'm going to say I'm smarter than 50% of them, or something like that.
Put in the bell curve right in the middle.
I'm not an idiot. Like, I'm not a complete idiot. So I'm at least going to give it a shot.
Yeah.
Like I could just get another job. It's fine. Like
I love that attitude. It's like worst case, well, maybe I'll just go get another job.
Get another job.
Work.
And because I think I was a career advisor, I was a bank greeter, I was breakfast television producer. Like, I think for me, I was like, oh, I'll just fit in wherever someone needs me. Great. And so what I wanted to do was start answering those questions for people, but like knowing that every person would hear that and be like, yeah, but that doesn't apply to me. Yeah, but that. So I went out and like, I made sure that each person had a completely different story. So when someone eventually listened to it, they'd be like, oh my God, that person's in the same situation as me. Yeah, great. And so like, you know, like I'm a dad and I have 3 kids. I'm going to quit to be a photographer or something. You know, I want that guy's story because that's different than mine. Like we have different decisions to make when we're quitting our jobs. And the one I always talk about, like, had one person on, like, she quit her sister's company to start her own company. You know,
quit
like
her sister's company to start her own
similar
company.
companies, you know, and I was like, that I want to talk about that, you know, like, and like how you navigated that. And then we do special ones where it was like, okay, you just quit like an hour ago. How are you doing? Like things, you know, like.
Did you really get them back?
Yeah.
Wow.
And they're like, what did I just do? I'm like, cool, let's talk about it, you know, like, so, I mean, I like talking. I like answering people's questions. Like I do this thing. I remember in university, or wherever, someone would raise their hand and ask a question and I could tell they didn't get the answer they wanted. I would then just ask the same question. I'd be like, yeah, but like, da-da-da. I didn't care about the answer. I was trying to help that person. So like, and again, I don't love telling those stories because it sounds like I'm like, oh, I'm so great. That's just something I do organically. I'm not thinking about the why I'm doing it. I'm like so bugged that person does not have something that they're looking for.
Right.
And that stuff all applies to the events. And so like, I barely watch the presentations. Like everyone on my teams make fun of me because I'm like, I can't. And I didn't know why I couldn't watch them, but it was because I care about every single person in that seat. And I'm like, I'm so anxious about these 500 people liking this speaker that I can't be in the room. Like it's, which is so funny. Like, and like,
is it because you're worried that you're going to hear a talk and that it's,
no,
you're going to
I'm
see
worried
in the faces that they're not going to resonate
yeah,
with the audience,
I'm worried
right?
that all 500 people aren't having the best time of their life. And so I'm like, I can't, my superpower is not 500 people. It's maybe 20 people. I can try to manage their emotions. But 500 I can't. So then I have to focus on making sure the speakers are good and making sure like we work with them quite a bit to be like, don't sell ads. Don't do this.
Don't just pitch your product.
Yeah.
minutes.
And like some of you, the guests on this podcast are like repeat speakers for us. And it's like, they see the potential of, you know, doing a good job for us leads to you speaking at other events with us, which leads to you getting paid more at bigger events and things like that. So it's like, come along for this ride with us. But if you do a big commercial, and I show them, I'm like, here's the feedback from the last person that did that. You're going to get the same thing kind of thing.
Yeah. Do you want that?
Yeah. So, I don't know. It's learning.
It goes with everything that you're saying in terms of being honest, being a good person and just telling the truth, and then building relationships with people. And then you take small steps, step by step. And before you know it, you've climbed the mountain. You're like, how the hell did I get here? Because you're like, I'm just Mike. I'm just some guy from wherever. Yeah. Why is everyone paying attention to me? But you did all those little things right.
Yeah. I mean, it's funny, like relationships is the number one thing. You have no idea how much they come back into play. I guess I'm like, I just had my 25 high school reunion. So I guess I'm like halfway through my career, maybe, hopefully, fingers crossed, more than that. But the other day I got an email from like a big tech company and I recognized the name who sent it. And I looked back and like, I was like, oh, hey, Meg, we actually worked together in 2007. You sent me a Microsoft Zune. She's like, oh, my God, amazing. She's like, you're that Mike? Like, she's like, I didn't think you were that Mike kind of thing. Like, you know, like Mike Morrison's a pretty common name. So she's like, I knew I was emailing Mike Morrison. I didn't realize it was that one. And like, that puts me so much further in that conversation. Right. So like when I did that sponsored campaign for Microsoft Zune, I had no idea that 20 years later that would come back into play. But by having those standards that I set for myself, it allows those opportunities to maybe happen. But again, I wasn't doing that on purpose. This is now hindsight. And now I'm like, oh my God, everyone, like be nice, like be cool, like be like we've had people come and leave our companies. I'm like, nope, no hard feelings. Great. Go do something else. Like, cause I know that I've left 20 jobs and to try different things. And,
Yep.
but like come back if you need to, or like whatever, like,
leave on good terms.
Yeah,
and cordial.
exactly.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I think that the lesson here is just really don't sacrifice like short-term gains or whatever you can make by lying or being deceitful, because in the long term, it's just going to bite you in the ass.
Yeah. And I would say I definitely have a little like bee in my bonnet about that. I think lots of business podcasts or business books are about that like overselling aspect. And so like I'll try to tell the story very, very quickly, but we hired a photographer. I hire people after like 2 seconds. So you're going to be hosting podcasts for me this week at Social East. And I'm like, yeah, he seems cool. He's had cool people. Great. I have a full-time employee. I've never seen a resume. I don't care. Like I met her. I hired her for this one little job, and she great. I'm like, do you want to work here?
I imagine though you have a really good insights into seeing people kind of and judging pretty quickly about how they are, because you're so good at building those relationships and because you've had so many encounters.
Yeah,
with
maybe.
other people.
I think when you said that, where my brain went was we get a ton of pitches for speakers. We don't do speaker pitches. We don't do call for speakers, and 60 or 70% of them are like I'll listing all the things that they've done, and I like immediately filter those out because I'm like, that's not what we're doing. We're actually, I want you to say, I'm going to teach you this, your people this. So just phrasing it differently.
Right. Yeah.
But I fully understand that 95% of conferences and events is about like, being super confident about yourself and talking about your career highlights and things like that. So like, I don't fault them for doing that at all. That's just not what we're doing.
Yeah.
So in Ottawa, I hired this photographer. Just someone said he's good. And I'm like, great. So then he sent me the invoice or whatever. And like, this is a few weeks before the event. And the next day he said like, hey, my accountant said you haven't paid the invoice yet. And I was like, that's a weird thing to say. So I was just like, oh yeah. And I usually just pay that. I pay them before. I don't care about like 30 days, whatever. If I can pay you, I'll pay you, whatever. Which is why my accountant, I drive him crazy. He's like, oh my God, stop doing that. And so I saw him at the event, and he was younger than I thought. He was like 22 or something. And I was like, hey, come here. And he's like, yeah. And I was like, you don't have an accountant. He's like, what do you mean? I was like, no accountant would say, hey, you gave this guy an invoice 24 hours ago. He's not going to pay you.
Right.
Like, and he's like, yeah. I was like, why did you say that? And he's like, oh, I heard that like you're supposed to say that you have this really big team. And I was like, but you don't have a big team. And I instantly knew you were lying. So like, I couldn't find another photographer, but like you had to now dig yourself out of a hole that you created yourself for no reason. Like, I don't care that you have an accountant. Like, I care that you're nice and you're going to take nice photos.
Yeah.
So that, and like, I remember by the end of there was at one point, there was like 5 or 6 of us, and we were like circling him being like, yeah, and then don't do this and don't do that. And don't like, but we were like so excited that this new entrepreneur like was actually listening, and like, we're like, no, we're going to set you up for success. Like, don't listen to that, whatever you're listening to or whatever you're reading that's saying to tell people you have an accountant when you don't. Like, we're going to give you actual advice from people who are working in the actual world kind of thing.
Right.
So,
yeah.
Anyway, I use that a lot because I just remember like, he was like, but that's what I thought I was supposed to do. Like, he thought that's what he was supposed to do. Yeah.
Another good business lesson for him. How's he doing? Do you know?
Good. I haven't followed up, but I'll use him again in Ottawa this year.
Okay. I was going to ask you that. So has that soured the relationship? But
no. Honestly, it takes a lot for me to sour a relationship, but once it's soured, it doesn't come back.
Well, of course.
So like, there's definitely been highs and lows of certain types of relationships over this company over the last 10 years. And like, I think because it takes me so long to get annoyed or mad or things like that, that by the time I do, I'm like done.
Yeah.
I'm like, I gave you a million chances. Or like, if I hear, like when we email people to speak, we say, hey, we have this much money. Do you want to speak? So from the start, they know how much they're being paid, and it's up to them if they say yes or no. And like a few times over the years, I've heard them complaining afterwards. I'm like, but you said
you said it was okay.
You said yes. So you could have said no. You could have, and like, we're paying about $750 to $1,000. So not nothing, but definitely professional speakers want to be paid more. But I'm often like, or people who want to be professional speakers, but I'm like, I'm trying to pay 30 people. The event you're talking about is only going to pay you. So I'm trying to make sure that everyone gets paid. So my money to pay is spread out among 30 people.
And the thing for them to know too is that it's stepping stones as well too, right? Because you said your conference is 500, 600 people.
Yeah.
But if you want to get to the 5,000 people conference, like that's 10x. So just pay your dues
Totally.
at the lower levels in a sense, right?
We're all paying our dues too. I don't think any one of our speakers or whatever look at me and we're like, Mike has all my money, I'm drinking a McDonald's coffee right now, and I'm not driven by money to a fault for sure. So like, it's not like people are seeing me on these exuberant vacations, these every month, and they're like, oh, that's where that money, that's where my
see you guys at the conference, you go on your yacht and just
it's
not like that.
Honestly. So I think like it is that I'm building this sort of really stable, foundation of trust and of like people. I don't know, like the speakers don't need to know how much money we're making, but I usually tell them, I'm usually like, oh yeah, this one's this, and like, but I think that, like as someone who used to do a lot of content creation, I barely do it anymore. But I used to speak. I don't really like speaking, which is sort of ironic. I like this more. I like hosting, but, I'm the only one I've ever seen put the money $sign in the first email, because I know how much that helps the conversation.
I love that too, because it does help too, because you have to have that money conversation right off the bat. Otherwise you're just kind of wasting people's time.
What's your budget? What's your budget? What's your fee? I know how much I want to pay you, so I'm going to tell you that. If you're like, that's too much, great. I'm glad that you're happy about that. Yeah. If it's too little, now it's your call. Like this is what I have, and you can look at the other, like I will never say for exposure, but like there is an element of that, and that's up to you to decide how important that is
it's worth
to you.
Yeah.
Like the podcast we're doing at our events now, I ask, and like if someone has recently like lost their job or something, like my brain is instantly like, how can I help that person for like 2 months, 3 months, whatever. So I had this person do our podcast recently, and she was in between work, and I was like, hey, do you want to host these podcasts at our event? She's like, I've never done it before. I was like, I don't really care. Like, you work in that world, have a conversation. She's like, great, okay. The first person she ever interviewed was Neil Patel. Like that was her first.
Are you
like
serious?
that was her
no
first.
No pressure there. Did she know that?
Yeah,
Neil Patel was,
Like he was our keynote speaker at Social West, and like he walked off the stage, and I was like, cool, like great. Like I maybe said hi to him. Like I don't even think I talked to him the whole time he was there, but like she got 30 minutes with him, and I'm like, amazing. Yeah. Like, but like she chose that, like I know, for a certain rate, I will still try to do things, and I will be your reference. And we always have photographers. We'll give you we'll do things to help you sort of send you on your way. Yeah. If you use us as a place to figure out what you want to do and where you want to be, then great. That's great. But I still have to pay you. Like I can't, I think I'm maybe 10% of events that pay their speakers, I think.
Yeah, I'm not very familiar with that world in terms of how many people pay. But
a lot of people have to pay to speak at conferences. That's the other part of it, which is insane to me.
But this is what I was going to say to you, because when you asked me too, and like I didn't even talk about money, because I'm just like, I understand the value that I can get from this, because number one, I want to pay my dues, and I want to practice getting good at podcasting, because I want to take this podcast to, as high as I could possibly take it, right? And I know I need to put in the reps. I need to get my practice in. And for someone to say, hey, I want you to come do podcasting for me, I'm like, perfect. That's amazing. So it's like, for me, the value's already there. And
did the email say the money? It did, didn't it?
It did, yeah.
Great.
We talked about it, yeah.
Perfect.
So you told me, and I was like, I don't even care about that, but it's great that you're doing that. But also, I think it's maybe important for you to know, and I think you know this too, that you are giving value from other people for speaking and for doing things, because they're getting that exposure, right? So there's value there too. It's
up to them to make that decision. So my email will never be like, here's 1,000, but like you're going to be talking in front of 1,000. To me, you have to make that decision, because
that's fair.
Our world, the content creator world, the entrepreneur world is like, we try to get sold exposure all the time, right? Like can't pay, but exposure. So like, but there is an element of exposure, but you have to sort of decide that for yourself.
That's true, because there is those clients too, and you got to learn how to spot them too, especially as a freelancer, if you're doing any kind of contract work or creative work, where they're like, oh, well, I'm not going to pay you money now, but if you do a good job, you'll get more exposure and you'll get more work. It's like, you can't always trust
you can
people
never
saying that.
This is your quote for social media. You can never be the only person not being paid. So like the person who emailed you to ask for free, they're being paid. The boss who told them, they're being paid. At the event, you can't be the only person in that room not being paid. Even the attendees are probably being paid because they're there for work. So you're the only one in that room not being paid. That's crazy.
Don't be that person.
Yeah, don't be that person. But ask for something. But also, I think it's as the owners of these companies, it's our responsibility to tell you what's within our range. And like some negotiate, most don't. And like it's like, oh yeah, I mean, they're all going to email me now after this. But like, if the hang up is, I can't afford the hotel, we'll figure that out. Like if I want you bad enough, we'll figure that out.
Like as a speaker or whatever.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
Okay, yeah.
I'm just trying to think of an example. Like, if we really want you there and there's a barrier, let's figure out what that barrier is. I'll toss you on that WestJet flight where you have to stand in the back with your plastic bag and you can't sit down. But like, fine, you'll come to Calgary, but not on a nice plane.
Right. Yeah. It's not first class.
Yeah, exactly. But also I'll just say this too. The quality you get. So like if you're going to host our podcast this week at Social East, somewhere in your brain, you're being paid for that. So you're going to do a bit better, whether you acknowledge it or not, than you would have if you weren't being paid. Because as you're packing up all your equipment, as you're researching all your stuff, and you're just like, this is just for me, eventually that chips away at you and you come and you're like, anyway, I'm just doing it. Actually doesn't matter. But me paying you
that's a good point.
Makes you take it a bit more seriously.
Puts more skin in the game.
Yeah, exactly. And I think our speakers are like that too. So like, you could not pay me to speak. I could give you a presentation. I'll maybe work on it for 5 minutes. I'll just BS my way through it. But if you're paying me $5,000, and this is now the like professional speaker world. Yeah. I'm going to work on it probably for a month. I'm probably going to practice. Because to me, to lots of people, 5,000 is a lot of money for what looks like 35 minutes on the stage. But, it's all the culmination of everything you did to get that offer. So paying people even something. I did a new event in St. John this year, and it was the first time I didn't pay people. I'll just say this up front, because it was like an event with no money, and I just wanted to do it. It was like a small business marketing summit in St. John. And I just said like, hey, I'm doing this thing. There's no money. I'm not even being paid. Like the sponsors are covering the costs, costs
of like the venue
it.
Or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, so if you just want to come and like believe in this thing, and everyone still came, everyone still came, and I like bought them dinner and put stuff in their rooms and stuff like that. But like they saw that opportunity, but like I immediately acknowledged there's no money. I'm not taking any money. And now
when was this?
This was just in May this year.
Do you think it had to do with the fact that people knew you and trusted you?
Yeah. No,
like these if you were just some random guy.
No, these were all people I'd worked with in the past. Yeah, okay. So it was like, hey, here's this opportunity. But like that was the first time in 10 years I just was like, I'm not paying you, but I'm not being paid. This is just this little passion project I want to do. And I lived in St. John for 3 years, and I really, really love it. But I also love an underdog city. And I was like, I just want to set these businesses up for success, for like marketing. And like someone from a tech company came, someone like an email marketing company, Cyber Impact. I think someone from Google came. We had some Halifax speakers. We had some St. John speakers. Like they're just like, yeah, whatever, cool. Like, but I built that collateral over the years of like, people know what my mission is. I want everyone at our events. We don't do VIP seating. We don't do anything that distinguishes you from the attendee beside you. Everyone deserves to get the same information. So that sort of parlays into everything else we do.
Do you ever think you will expand the business to no?
No. To have like VIP stuff?
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
There's things that I have to recognize got us here. And so like to start changing things too much would mean become sort of an uncertain path and not necessarily a guaranteed success path. And like after navigating this for so long, I don't want to disrupt things too much. So maybe I don't even know if we'll expand to any other cities. I think we'll look at, so we're really growing our online community. So we have this online community of 2,000 people of previous attendees. We have a newsletter. We have this business called Marketing News Canada. So like we're focusing on that. But I think I love the idea of like every year, this is true, every year, the first day of sales of Social West, the Calgary Flames organization buys 10 tickets the first day every year.
Really? Okay,
and I'm always like, hey guys, do you want to speak at this thing yet? They're like, nope. Like, okay, great. Like, you know, like, and then I fly in the guy from the Canucks who does want to speak. I'm like, well, that's your fault. But like, I want that organization sitting beside a nonprofit, because that they could have a conversation about something. Maybe they won't, maybe they will, but they could have a really cool conversation that leads to that organization being on the center ice of the Calgary Flames. Like, these are literally things I like picture happening. And like, I love when I go scroll through LinkedIn and I'm like, I see two people. I'm like, how the F do they know each other? And I'm like, oh, it's through me. Like, it's through my event. Cool. Yeah. You know, like, I'm like, great. Like, so I think if you start tiering prices for experiences, if someone's paying $500, that's a lot of money for them. That shouldn't exclude them from your event.
Getting the benefits from that.
Yeah. And like, I know the rich get richer in a way. So like, if you can afford $1,000, you shouldn't get better information than the people who could only afford $500. I get that's how our society works fully, but that's not how I want to do things.
Yep. And it's the beauty of having your own business.
You
make up your own rules.
Yeah. And like, I know who has money and I know who doesn't. So like, if a big tech company is going to ask me for something, I'm going to ask for way more money than I am like a local agency. You know, that's the sort of differentiations that I do. But I think like, we don't. I want everyone in the same room. I want everyone to leave the same information. It's just better that way, I think. Yeah.
No, that makes a whole lot of sense. Going back to
question 3.
Question 3.
Right.
Just real quick here, because I always kind of like to tie this into insights for like new entrepreneurs or people that are wanting to start their own business. When you were talking to all these entrepreneurs that decided to quit their jobs, was there any kind of common thread that you can kind of piece together as to what made them go over that edge? Because I know you were saying you want to get different people with different reasons.
I would say it's sort of like, my brain works like a conveyor belt. So like, once something's on it, I know I'm going to have to deal with it at some point. So like, once I start thinking about like leaving a job or whatever, I'm like, oh, I'm going to leave it. Like, or like moving. Like, we've moved 3 times. We lived in Halifax, St. John, now Montreal in the last 3 years. And our friends are like, why do you keep doing that? And we're like, why not? Like, we don't care. Like, we're we don't really, you know, but like, we make those decisions within like 24 hours. My partner and I was like, hey, what do you think about moving? And he's like, yeah, I think let's do it. Okay, great. And
perfect. It is done.
And the next day we're calling the realtor. We've been both thinking about it in our heads for months, you know, and so that to me, every time so there's 2 points. If you reach out to someone to talk about being an entrepreneur, you're already interested in being an entrepreneur. Like that's, and again, I think you're looking for someone to say, don't do it. And then the second part is like just this urge and this curiosity. And like, I definitely don't think it's for everybody. I think you have to have a little bit of a safety net. Like I didn't have cash, but our rent in Calgary was very, very cheap. So I knew how much I had to make. And I knew how much time I was putting into it and what level I was making. So I was like, oh, so if I have an extra 30 hours a week, can I get up here? And I sort of took that risk kind of thing. So there's that jump you have to take. But I do think there's people who aren't good entrepreneurs. But if you're curious about it, there's nothing I can do or anyone can do to say, don't do it or yes, do it. You have to just do it and find out for yourself. I think this is where I get in trouble, but like the tech world is filled with people who are being sold something that I think is impossible. You can start a tech company and a bigger tech company is going to come in and buy you out and your life is set. And I think over the years of selling, 10,000 tickets to our events, I think 5 tech companies have come. They never think about marketing. They never picture what if they're with this company for 10 years. It's fast. It drives me bonkers.
So do you think these companies, they don't think about marketing and that's to their detriment then? And why you think that most of these companies aren't going to be successful?
Yeah, I think a lot of people, I'm picking on tech companies now, but I think they spend a lot of time thinking about like people are going to use these products, but they're actually not thinking about the people who will use their product.
Right. It's just the product itself.
Yeah. It's like we're reinventing a way of renting. I'm like, okay, do you rent? Like have you ever rented? Like, no, maybe yes, maybe no. But like, you're just trying to revolutionize something that doesn't necessarily meet the needs of people who actually need the industry to be revolutionized. And I'm being a brat right now, but
no, I think I hear what you're saying. It's like you're chasing down something that doesn't really need to be solved, or like their reason for being this tech entrepreneur is not because they want to solve actual problems in the world, but because they want to get famous and build a big company and make a whole lot of money.
Yeah.
So it's like
a lot of
it for the wrong reasons. And not everyone.
And the cities are I think the cities are guilty of it too. They're all fighting. Every major city in Canada is fighting to be like the tech hub of, you're like, but what does that mean? Like, what does that actually mean? Like, there's only so much money in the world. And like, I have a friend, she runs a tech company. And, she's so successful. I make fun of her all the time. And like, just to like, I'm like, oh, are you in another pitch session? Like, I'm like standing in front of another 20 people pitching your like, your Dragon's Den type thing. I'm like, how, like, at some point, do you have to work? Like, like,
what
it's
like,
I've never stood up and pitched my company to anybody, and it's fine. But like that tech world is like pitch. And I'm like, when do you like look at the customer base, or when you look at your market? Oh God, I'm gonna get in so much trouble.
Right.
But yeah, it's fine. Sorry, tech companies.
Well, no, I guess it's a thing too, because I think
I'm gonna make sure I don't get in trouble.
Oh, yeah.
I think your intentions have to be about actually helping people. It's day one. No one's going to be the next Mark Zuckerberg. That was a moment in time. So you have to think about like your 5 years, 10 years, and what customers you want to bring along with you there.
Yeah. No, I think that makes perfect sense. Like, you have to figure out what it is, the problem is that you're solving and who you're solving it for.
Yeah.
And making sure you understand who those people are.
Yeah.
Because otherwise you're just building something for nothing.
Yeah.
But I think it goes to show with tech and with what you're doing, there's different ways of how people approach business. Because I think from you, it's probably like bootstrapped the whole way, right? It's like, okay, we're just going to figure this thing out. We're going to have our own money. We're not going to go all these crazy investors at the start. But then tech companies, it's like, well, I want to build something. That means I need developers. I need this and that. And they just have to go get like angel investments. I need $1 million. I need $2 million. It's like, do you really? So
well, and then the second they get pulled, their company folds. So like we have never, I want to make sure I say this right. Right now at 9:30 a.m., I don't think we've ever taken money from the government. I don't think we took the CEBA loan during the pandemic, but like we don't take grants, we don't take anything like that. We'll do some employee programs just to give people opportunities. But like I want to be the reason we fold, not someone deciding we're not going to pay Mike anymore. We're not going to getting that event anymore, which then goes back full circle to making sure our sponsors are super happy, because I want them to come back next year and I don't want to chase a new similar sponsor. So like last year we had 100% national sponsor retention from year to year.
100%.
100%.
Everyone I don't think it get higher than that.
No, I know. Everyone that sponsored us in 2024 sponsors us in 2025. I think we're maybe 80% next year. Like a few of them aren't coming back for their own reasons, but I think we're around 80%, which is still insane. No, I don't have investors, but I'm building a community of sponsors that come with us to every event. We're all in the car together driving, we're going to dinner tonight. Like we've become friends. And so those relationships, I mean, I'm not doing it on purpose, but I just know that it gets harder to say no. It gets harder as we continue to work together and things like that. And so they could pull their sponsorship at some point, but in theory, I've built a base where they're not going to like pull it from me without me having any like, oh my God, now I can't do my events kind of thing. And so that's where I think tech companies and a lot of businesses get in trouble, is too reliant on someone else's decisions. That if that person's company folds, then you have to fold. That sucks. Like I don't want that to happen. So yeah, that to me is the danger of the tech world, is you have too many people giving you too much money. And they get to decide too many things.
It's fascinating because you hear those big companies, like even like WeWork or whatever, they're making hundreds of millions or whatever, billions of dollars. And it's like, oh, we're just going to worry about how we're going to make money later.
Yeah.
Or like, I don't understand. How could you not think about that?
Yeah.
Like, we'll worry about making money later.
Yeah. It's, I mean, and I think there's people who figure it out and then they become the sort of standard, and so everyone looks up to them and aspire. I'm like, no, they had 40 different things, or like you don't know their family's history, you don't know how much money he has, and sort of that who is it, Allison Williams, like the actress, during that whole Nepo baby discussion kind of thing. So she's in Girls, she's in the Megan movie.
She was in that Get Out movie?
Yeah. So I love her. Her dad is Brian Williams, the news anchor. So she's...
Oh, really?
Yeah,
I didn't even know that.
So, well...
I just thought she was really fantastic.
Yeah, and so, but in her interviews, when she talks about Nepo babies, she's like, that doesn't mean I get every job. It means if I don't get a job, I'm not worried about my rent. Like I don't have to say yes to shitty jobs just to pay my rent. I could get no jobs for a year and it should be okay. And I'm still living in a really nice condo. Like, and I was like, yes, like to me, that's how you explain the Nepo baby thing, you know, like Taylor Swift is very, very successful for lots of reasons, but her family's also very successful. So she was able to go to Nashville for a week and probably stay in a nicer hotel and get good rest in like those little things all line up, and you eventually have to prove yourself, and they all have, but like they definitely have that little safety. And so that's what I'm trying to do, is have a little safety so one person can't just wipe out everything that we've built.
Yeah.
This podcast interview might wipe out
No. I think it's fantastic. I think you're giving great advice here too. Because there's things that I'm thinking in my mind. It's like, yes, this is what I need to do in my business. Yeah. How I'm going to get ahead. How important is it to you then to keep going with the flow? Because you talked about this before. It's like, you know, I kind of say yes and kind of things happen and I kind of go with the flow. How important has that even been to you? And how important is it for you going forward?
Stabilization has been something we haven't focused on, but we've focusing on a ton. So like we're trying to sign 2 or 3 year contracts with venues now, because we end up chasing venues all the time, and especially as we've gotten bigger. So like even Halifax, which is in 3 days, we've filled the hotel, we've sold the conference, and we're like, cool, let's just do this next year. They're like, no, we're sold out for next year. And I was like, but why didn't you ask us? And they're like, because we have lots of events that sell out. So we asked the ones who have been here for 3 or 4 like or 5, 6 years first, right? I was like, oh yeah, that makes sense. I'm like, how do we become that? And so we've started, so now we really only have one venue available to us in Halifax, and we're trying to figure out if it's available or not. Like we might have to change how the event looks or whatever for it to work. But that is something we're trying to. So like there's going with the flow, but there's also just like ensuring certain things aren't going to fall apart.
Right.
I do think navigating an event business during the pandemic allowed me to believe that I could always figure it out. Like, you know, we did that thing that most events didn't do, was offer full refunds, but like it was written I call it the most expensive email ever. I had like 4 of my friends who are in crisis PR all write this email together. It was just like this carefully woven. I was like, I don't want to sound like, please let me keep your money. But I was like, I want them to know that I will not be back if I don't keep their money. Like, so like this,
walking that fine line.
Yeah. So it was like, hey, we're going to give me your money back. But if we don't, here's what we're going to do with it. Like, and like we did all these virtual events, and like I was like, these virtual events, they can't just be a webinar. This person paid me $600. So we sent them a box full of high-end products, like the book of the keynote and stuff like that. So everyone was opening a box. Anyway, all that to say, like 80% of people said, yes, keep our money. Mm-hmm. That saved the company, right? Like that. And those other 20%, at no point did I care. I was like, yeah, of course. A lot, if that was your own money, especially. But lots of people are like, oh, it's my company's money. I don't care. Like this, they still want me to do professional development. So yeah, that's fine. And so that changed a lot in terms of me trusting ourselves and like, yeah, going with the flow, but like a bit more structure, but also knowing everything will be fine.
Yeah.
So like Calgary last year, I was in the shower the morning of the conference, and I heard the emergency alert go off in Calgary, and I said to my partner,
like on the phone,
yeah, and I was like, please tell me that's a missing kid. Like I was like, I was like honestly, I was like, please, like I will go and find that kid, but I don't want to know what that is. And it was the city's main water main had broken,
right? Yeah,
and Calgary had. They were like, don't shower for a month. And we were like, what? I have 800 people who are currently about to shower come to my event. So like
hopefully shower
or something. And I was like, can you even do an event? Like, can we serve water? Like, but this was at 6:30. The event starts at 90 minutes. So I was like, we're going to ask for forgiveness and say we're already there. We're already setting up, blah, blah, blah. Sorry, we didn't see the message. If someone gets mad at us. But then you make a joke about, I got up on stage and made a joke, like 2 or 3. I'd written like a little monologue about it just to like, I always love evening the playing field. I'm like, okay, so we all saw that note. We're all just going to deal with it. It's fine. But then at lunch, we went to Dollarama and bought 800 sticks of deodorant. And as everyone came back in, and like, I don't know if anyone used them, but like, it was just a joke. It was just 5 minutes of like funny for me, fun. And like, everyone just like, yeah, that's funny. Like, so like, we roll with the punches for sure. There's nothing we haven't seen. And that trust is really important.
Yeah, I feel like it's in different stages of business as well too, because you guys are 10 years in now. Yeah. So you need to be able to establish that base of like, okay, we need to have this consistency because people are going to expect that from us, and we want to have that stability as well too. But then there's times when you can kind of experiment and go with the flow or whatever. But if you're new, then be open to wherever the wind might take you.
No, honestly, like you can't. I used to teach at a university, like a college after dark kind of thing. Why can't night school? Sounded so weird. Dark, yeah, no, I couldn't. That was a weird way of saying that. I used to teach like intro to blogging, and like I was like, this is so stupid. Just write, Like I was like, why? Like I was like, why am I teaching? I hated teaching it because I was like, just do it.
Were you
like,
getting paid to teach?
Yeah, I was. Okay. Like not much, but just something. And like, but to say you're teaching at a university is obviously really good. And so like that was what I was getting out of it. But like,
how long was this course?
Like 6 weeks, maybe.
6 weeks
like
of
twice a week. And like I hate it. And I have an education degree as well to add to the randomness of this. And I was like, no, I hate all of this. But it was like so much of it. I was like, I don't know, open blogger.com and start writing.
Right.
See, like,
go to WordPress.
Even then, like I would get asked a lot about blogging, and I had this standard email. So someone's like, hey, I'm thinking about starting a blog about this. Like, could I sit down with you to learn? And I had a standard email, and it was like do these 10 things. And then once you've done those, then I'll help you.
Right.
But a lot of things people think they want to do, and then they start doing, and they realize they don't. Totally great. That's fine. Don't waste everyone else's time to figure that out. So figure out if you like doing it first. So like once you've written for a month or two, and it was never about once you get so many readers or so many blah, blah, blah. But I was like, I want to help you once you realize that you like it. I don't want to help you realize you don't like it.
Right. Yeah. It's just a waste of almost everyone's time, especially yours. Especially if you can just have this copy paste email.
And it was just like, like name it something that people will remember. Write as much as you can, and like don't like. So many people, this is nostalgic blogs, they're not really around anymore, but like so many people I would see write a blog post, but like, this is my first blog post, and they'd share it on Facebook. Hey guys, I'm writing a blog about whatever. And then they wouldn't write it ever again because they were so focused on that first post.
Yeah.
And so I'd be like, don't tell anyone you're writing it for a month. Like, see if you like writing a blog. And then when you promote your blog, they'll have a month of content to read, as opposed to just like one blog post. So
that's like, hey, I'm here.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So it was stuff like that. It wasn't me being like rude. It was like, these are I already know what your questions are. Here are the answers. Let's talk in a month. Literally no one ever followed up. Like
really?
It was
there you go.
Yeah.
We did them out. Did you ever read this guy?
I literally don't read anything. I'm not.
You're being serious.
Very serious.
But you read blogs though?
No.
Okay.
Go ahead.
I was just going to ask if you knew, because back in the day, I remember back in 2005 and 6, I was kind of doing a little bit of blogging.
Yeah.
And there was this big guy, pro blogger, and he was the blog site of teaching other people how to blog.
Okay.
I don't know if you remember that.
No.
That was like the heyday of, that was like the blog is making tons and tons of money back in the day.
The advice I would tell people to not listen to me is like, I don't listen to podcasts. I don't read blogs. I don't about business or anything. Like I barely on Instagram. I post. I don't read the comments. I don't reply to people. Like it's like I those are the rules I don't follow at all.
Right.
And I don't feel the need to, because nothing. So like maybe I'd be 10-20% richer, more successful if I had all that stuff. But like that's not what's driving me. But like literally I don't. I'll read the books of our keynote speakers, so like Terry O'Reilly and Arlene, just so I know what they're going to talk about.
Right.
But so much of what they're writing about is what they talk about in their podcast, so there's so much crossover.
Right, of course.
So if I listen to their podcasts, I usually am fine. But
that's so funny because here you are in the marketing business in a sense,
know.
and all the things I do, like when you comment or when you make a post, respond to all the comments, engage in your audience. And you don't do any of it. But it's I think that's okay though, because I think for you're kind of the guy behind the scenes and building a business here in the marketing space, but that whole business runs on relationships and building those. So that's what you're doing, right? And other people talk about it. Like I'm just, I was waiting for you to come here to the studio, and I was on LinkedIn and I'm looking at people posting about SocialNext, and they're talking about it. So like they're doing the marketing for you.
And I don't,
you know what I mean?
And I don't write them back.
Yeah, no, right.
Like
this guy doesn't care about me.
Like on Monday or Tuesday next week, I'll click SocialNext and I'll like post, and if there's I'll read to make sure the general sense. I care. It's not that I don't care what people think, but like if I post a photo of a nice sunset and there's like 10 comments, I'm not gonna be like it's like saying thank you, no thank you, no thank you, no thank you, no thank you, and you're like, I'm not gonna. You said it's a nice photo. I agree with you. That's why I posted it. Great. Like
we understand the social contract here.
Yeah. That kind of thing. But I mean, if you DM us through the work account, we write you back. But like,
well, that's a different, because you're doing that. That's your personal thing. It's like, hey, here's, like you said, a picture of sunset.
But like I had, before the pandemic, I had my first employee, and Emma, and she's the best. I freaking love her. She had lots of intentions of sort of following the trajectory of like a lot of content creators. And, but then we worked together for like, I think 1.5 years before the pandemic. And, she's like, I've read every Instagram book. I've read everything. And she's like, nothing talks about the way you talk to people on the phone, the way you don't care about your numbers. Like I cannot, and I don't even mean this humble. I cannot tell you how many people follow me. I couldn't tell you. I've maybe never looked. Like 10 years ago when I made a media kit, like when I see people be like, I posted about this thing and I lost 300 followers. I'm like, you're still looking at that? I'm like, what? That's insane. Like, so, but I remember her being like, she's like, nothing in the books. And like, she'd hear me on the phone and I'd be like, no, I don't know how many followers. She'd be like 16,000. Like she knew the exact number. I'm like, cool. Like I don't, but so there's a naiveness, but I think now I've been doing this long enough that I can be like, no, people, like I know what people want from me, and it's not me. I mean, even if you look at my Instagram, I don't even think I talk about my business. I'll reshare a sold out or an image on a story. Yeah. But like I've never been able to, it's something I do think about. I don't know how to talk about my business on social media, and so I don't.
So you just don't.
So I don't. Yeah. Like I used to be sponsored by TELUS as a content creator, and like it was getting to be like just I wasn't really happy with it, and I think they weren't really happy with it in a way, just because I was like, I don't want to do this anymore. Like I don't want to talk about whatever. But I had this. Their perks are great. They pay great. All this stuff. And so I decided to wrap it up, and they're like, "But why don't you like? We have a whole small business thing. Like, let's talk about you." I'm telling a story. When I moved here, so I was like a Calgary content creator. When I moved to Halifax, like that's okay. We're not super focused on Halifax, but why don't we use you as like our small business person?
Yeah, this is TELUS telling you
TELUS, yeah. And I was like, I don't know how to. I don't want to. Like I was like, I don't want to talk. I don't think anyone cares. Like, hey guys, like I'm looking for speakers. Like so, like I'll post. I ask the person that does my social media events to like add me as a collaborator that when it's done, and I'll approve it. But like. I would say 70% of the people who follow me on social media like have no idea what I do because I don't talk about it. Like, so they'll follow.
I don't know. I think they probably do.
LinkedIn does. So I talk about it on LinkedIn because that makes more sense to me. Yeah. But like, if you follow me, because I like post a lot about Calgary or Halifax, then St. John, now Montreal, like you don't, I'm never talking about like, oh, hey, I'm doing a conference here. Hey. Like, I
see. Yeah. Okay.
So it's funny. Like it's so different than what so many people, but I have lots of friends who own their own businesses who don't post about their jobs, their day-to-day jobs, stuff like that. Like they might post a crowd shot of a thing they organized and be like, this was so fun to organize, but like their online personality has nothing to do with their professional personality.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know.
No, that's interesting because that's a completely different perspective than I've heard and like read in any business books or whatever. Yeah. But some people do say like, if you're going to talk about your personal stuff, do it personal and then build, those relationships in a sense. Yeah. But every now and then, if you do happen to say like, oh, by the way, I'm a real estate agent, and if you're looking for a house, and people are like, oh, well, I followed you. I've
Yeah,
seen all your dog photos. They've been fantastic. I happen to be looking for a house too, so let's connect. So
I don't know his name. I think his name is James. When I moved here, there's another guy named James who was like a big coffee person. So his whole content was coffee, and then he switched to real estate. And I was like, great. Like he sort of, I don't know if he did that on purpose, but like he established himself as a local expert. Like he knows coffee, knows the coffee shop, knows the neighborhoods. Now he's a realtor. And like if those two things line up as a personal interest of mine, then I would probably have chosen him as my realtor kind of thing.
Right. So,
I think people want to know a bit about who they're working with.
Exactly.
Going back to sort of the events, like this is a complete different subject, but like, our events are always at least 50% women, 50% men, as diverse as I can make them. So like if a company only sends like a white straight guy, like I can't do anything about that. But then while I'm looking for speakers, I look for diversity. But like if you see an ad for our conference and then you click on it and you see that there is the token gay person or the token person of color, there's 3 or 4 of them. They're da-da-da. You're like, oh, I'm going to be welcome there. I'm going to be, I'm not going to stick out there, things like that. Those are things that I think about too, because I want everyone to feel super comfortable. And I know that, like, I still see panels of all men. I'm like, who's doing this? Like, just as a marketing perspective, you're eliminating 50%. Like, women don't need to hear from 4 men about business. They need to hear from women and men together on stage kind of thing. So I don't know, I think about that sort of stuff.
How important is that to you in order to like, do you need to see yourself into those people? Because you said when you see like ads or whatever, that it's like, I want to see that I'm going to be represented.
I think representation is super important. So like, and I learned about that, like as literally being the token gay person in Calgary. So like I was very vocal about, gay queer rights, I guess, in a province that it's fine to say the opposite kind of thing. The government sort of allows you to. I find that people aren't like that at all. I freaking love Calgary, Edmonton, amazing cities, but the governments play with LGBTQ rights a lot over there.
It's a big difference between how just regular people interact versus what you hear on the government, right?
I never had politics and everything. I never had a bad interaction once with a citizen. I've screamed at politicians, but I know being asked to go to an event, and then I realized that I'm just there because someone's like, we need a gay person. Yeah. Mike's gay. Like, not even caring who I am.
But you don't like that then, obviously, right?
I don't like being the only one. Like, I want to...
Because you're not there for you. You're there for just what you can represent. I checked a box,
so
it's like, that's not...
And there's a guy, his name's Richard Wong. He works... Where does he work now? Amazon. He used to be at LinkedIn, I think. And like, a lot of the speakers I find are like through LinkedIn. And if someone's posting neat stuff, I'm like, hey, I run these events. Do you want to come? Like, that was earlier on. Now, mostly, it's a different sort of process. But I remember he came to Calgary, Social West, and he said, look, he's like, I get asked a lot because I'm Asian and I'm checking a box. He's like, the only reason I said yes was because I looked at your site and I wasn't the only Asian speaker. And like, that stuck with me. And I was like, okay, good to know. Like, because I'm doing it a bit differently. You can say it's part of the marketing sales strategy, but it's also the right thing to do, is to make sure your events are welcoming for everybody. Hearing from diverse voices, like not everyone has the exact same marketing experience, just what they're bringing to the table or whatever. And so even having this conversation, I always feel like you have to like try carefully, because I don't want to sound like I'm tokenizing like having a diverse lineup, but like it's important because lots of people should hear from lots of different people. But even if you don't care about that from a marketing sales perspective, like even if you don't care that people feel comfortable by representation, if you want to sell your event, there are lots of people who don't want to just hear from the same white people, the same whatever, kind of thing. And so making sure you're hearing from different voices, hearing from different perspectives, is really, really important.
You also want to make sure that you're hearing, though, different opinions and different thoughts in the marketing space as well. Because if everyone is diverse in terms of how they look, but if they're all saying the exact same thing, then it's like, well, that's not
No,
you
exactly.
You need to get some value and learn something as well too from
and like
people.
we want to make sure we actually add our Ottawa event is sort of more focused on nonprofit and public sector marketing, because we were getting so much feedback from our other events that they're like, yeah, that's great. I'm not allowed on TikTok. Like my business isn't, like my nonprofit isn't allowed on TikTok. So
not allowed on
no,
TikTok.
lots of them. Policy,
oh, like because they're the policy.
Policies.
I see. I thought like TikTok ban. Like,
oh
what?
no, sorry.
Yeah.
Policies and stuff allow them, don't allow them to be on it. So I'm like, okay, great. So you have different challenges. How are we going to help you with that? So that's how the Ottawa event sort of came to be, was sort of addressing that different type of, and then if there's super niche subjects that people want to talk about that I don't think can not necessarily fill a room. I don't care if there's only 20 people watching your session. Those 20 people are getting something out of it. Yeah. Great. But if it's like so niche, then we'll switch that to a webinar. We're like, cool, do that as a webinar, because that's going to be for like, we want as many people to see it, but we're going to need national reach on it to make it make sense. So we'll do a webinar on that. And if it goes well, then we'll move you to the big stage kind of thing.
Yeah. I do want to bring it back again. Question number 4.
Yeah. Oh God. So is anyone still listening?
We're talking, of course. You're talking about data as well too. And one of the things that I do look at is how the retention is on each podcast episode.
Oh yeah.
So I kind of see like, okay, here's a big spike where people dropped off.
Yeah.
Why did they drop off? Did I ask a stupid question, or were people rambling on or so much? So I do try to use that information to see how far I'm going. That being said, people are still listening, because people actually do watch the whole episodes, which is fantastic. Yeah. So yes, there's still people listening.
I'm going to let you finish the question. You should also think about why you stopped listening to podcasts. So when you're looking at an analysis, and next time you're listening to a podcast, pay attention to when you stopped it. And you're like, oh, was it the length? Was it the sound quality? Was it what made you stop? Because that's what's going to make everyone stop. Yeah. So just on top, it's not all data. It's also human. What do I listen to? Why do I stop listening? Yeah, that's a really good point. And I do try to think about that quite often. It's like, why did I choose to click on this video to watch, or this podcast? And why do I stop? And oftentimes when I do stop is when I feel like I've already gotten the value of whatever the video said it was going to promise me, right? Like, I assume you're going to edit that. No one's going to listen to me talk about Social East for 2 hours, I hope. Well, it will get edited, but most of the stuff honestly kind of stays. That's too, cool. Because a lot of, I think like you're saying, where it's about building relationships too. And I think having these types of conversations will help people understand you, help people understand me. And for whatever reason, people like to just sometimes have a podcast and just kind of listen to it, which is kind of surprising to me. But it's funny what you said. I'm going to let you get to question 4, I swear. But what you said about like what made you click on an ad, I don't necessarily speak that much anymore, but like early days of marketing, that was like the number one thing I said. I was like, we can study all these things, but you are a customer. What are you clicking on? So make an ad look like that. Like what made that ad make you click on it? Like, so I would say like, go home and for the next 48 hours, just try to pay attention to what you're clicking on. What is making you engaged in that? What is making you interested in that? And that's an answer for a lot of your questions. Yep. Yeah. Especially if you're trying to attract like-minded people. Yeah. And I think another thing that's like almost next level is whenever you go to, you were talking about this morning, how you went for coffee and you interact, you went to Sobeys. Yeah. Like think about every time you make a purchase, why did you buy that specific thing? So you make so many purchasing decisions every day. Yeah. So think about that to get some insights as to. And it's not that complicated. Sometimes it's because it has a gluten-free logo, so I just grab it. Absolutely. You know what I mean? It's not like what brands I know I can trust, or like this is very silly. I love Tim Hortons; they're a sponsor of ours. They are not serving oat milk right now, and I'm very upset about it. So like I switched to to support local coffee shops. When you're in a hurry in a city you don't know, you go to fast food. I'm so sorry. You don't have to have all these caveats of what you're saying. I have to. But like I know McDonald's has oat milk, so like. I used to go to Tim Hortons every day, but for last week I go to McDonald's now because they have oat milk. Like, so it's not a business. Their ads aren't any different, except that I know they have oat milk now. Mm-hmm. And I love oat milk. So like, so there you go. Yeah. So it's, anyway, also support local coffee shops. But it makes sense too. I mean, for me too, sometimes when I'll buy something, it's like, cause the package looks really good. Yeah. And I'm a design snob. So it looked really good. Or like the cover of a book has that sort of gritty, like soft sandpaper feel. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah. So I love that. Not that I read them. Not that you read, I was going to say. I buy them and they sit on my nightstand. It's great. It's like a paperweight, right? You exactly. Okay, yeah. So the question I had was, because you were talking about blogging and helping other people blog in terms of them contacting you. So I told you this earlier before you got here, is I want to start
figuring out how I could teach other
Yeah.
people podcasting
Yeah.
because I do think, number one, I actually like teaching and talking to people. But I also think it's going to be good for business because the more people that get into blogging or podcasting, I should say, are going to want to come to the studio, hopefully.
Expert.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
So is there any advice that, I'm being very selfish here, but is there any advice that you can say to me in terms of how I should look at starting the process of, hey, I want to throw a workshop? Like, do I throw this on LinkedIn? Do I just try to look at my network right now?
Oh, that's a really good question. Yeah, I mean, I think in a way you would cushion the first few sessions with like friendly people. So your friends or like your clients who are already booking the studio space and stuff like that. So you're getting photos, you're getting context, like people are writing reviews or, saying, so planting a few people to get that visual. And then I think word of mouth is still the most powerful marketing tool. So having people talk about it and having nice things. But I think one of the things I think our website does really well is the simplicity of it. Like if you go to our website, you're probably like, how does this sell so many tickets? But
it's direct and to the point.
It tells you what the speaker is talking about and it tells you how much tickets are. I don't need to explain to you what a conference is. No. You know what that is? Like I'm not going to have a flashy video or any, like I don't think we have video on our site. I don't think we do, which, every marketing conference is like this crazy thing. And I'm like, no, here's who's speaking. Here's when they're speaking, buy a ticket. So I think the simplicity of your message would be really easy. And I think, so two thoughts. You want to go after people who have money, who aren't really going to think about it. So going to the VPs of the big companies in Halifax, being like, hey, are you starting a business podcast, like a podcast about your company? I'd like to help produce that. Here's my fees. So that you're getting the rich people to pay for your base. Right. And then you can help the people you actually want to help, which is like the everyday podcaster, things like that. And, but like, I think you have to give them a goal. So I might buy something, but I need to know at the end that I'm going to have something. So like at the end, I'm going to have 3 podcast episodes that I can hit publish on and that are going to live.
And this is not for the teaching one, but for the ones like if I'm reaching out to these.
No, this is teaching ones.
Oh, this is teaching one.
Teaching ones. Yeah. Okay. So like you're going to help them launch their first 3 episodes. Like they're going to have something at the end. And that
interesting. Okay.
That they're investing in, as opposed to, because the people who are fully self-motivated are probably already doing it. You're a person who's self-motivated. We're in your house and we're in the nicest podcast studio I've ever been in. Might as well be on CBC. And that's all self-motivation. No one taught you how to do that. And some people aren't self-motivated, and that's totally fine too. They need an expert to be like, these are the things you actually need. Do you need 3 cameras to have a big podcast? No, you don't. A lot of people just need someone to say, here are the basics. Here's how here's my favorite publishing tools. Like you need to answer all their questions, right? So, but you can't just say like, you have to use Redline or you have to use SoundCloud.
So I like that. So, cause initially what I was thinking is just like a 1-day thing or half a day of just like, here's just how to podcast and how to do it. Yeah. And then, but I love what you're saying in terms of giving them something that they can take home. Like, okay, if you stick with me, then we can do your first 3 episodes too. Yeah. I feel like that, I don't know if that's a little bit more involved to start with, or that's a good starting point.
I mean, here's the thing. You sort of have to experiment. You sort of have to see what works, right? Yeah. So like, I think the way we experiment is some of our events are 1 day, some of them are 2 days. And so the biggest mistake I ever made was launching Social Pacific in Vancouver as like a 2-day. We're so popular in Calgary that we'll easily just transfer to Vancouver. And I lost $80,000. I didn't pay myself for a year. It was a full disaster. And so from that point on, we said, okay, every time we launch in a city, it's 1 room, 1 day, just to see if there's a market for it. There is, great. See you next year. We start incrementally growing it. So like I go after big sponsors to sort of cushion the blow of the events in terms of like, okay, now without even selling a ticket, I already have $30,000. Great. That's such a great place to be. And I can like make choices that benefit the little guy, quote unquote, because of these big guys have come in and helped me have this foundation I need to pay my bills, stuff like that. So I think trying different things at first, but like realizing that lots of people might not know who you are, and that's great too. But having like, I don't know, when I lived here, there was a podcast studio I went to because I don't want to learn how to do I have no interest in any of this at all. I want to walk into a nice studio, record a podcast. I want you to give me the file.
Yeah.
Like
just give me the final product. And
that's how I recorded my podcast in Calgary and Halifax. And so there's lots of people who just want to do that. So you can, maybe it's different types of workshops. So it's like how to interview someone for a podcast. And then it's how to edit a podcast, and that's going to be a different person. I'm of the mind where it's like, if you can pay someone to do it, who's an expert at it, do it. Like,
might as well.
It's not worth my money and time to learn how to use 3 cameras and edit it. I'll never do it. I'm 43. If I wanted to do it, I would have done it by now.
Right.
Like if I was drawn towards that world.
Yeah, 100%.
I'm not saying don't learn anything new, but like, I'm obviously never going to learn what an f-stop is because I have not taken time in the last 20 years to learn what f-stop means.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think having little options, some are going to work, some aren't. I also think don't overthink it too much. Put something out there
and see what happens.
You can also emulate what other people are doing. We don't have to reinvent the wheel. There are people who are already doing what you're doing, but your perspective on it will be different. So like there's lots of conferences, but how we're doing it is what makes us different. I used to, not so much anymore, AI's really helped me, but like I used to go to a lot of different marketing sites just to see how they wrote about things.
Okay.
Like write about or what they call like different ticket prices and stuff like that. I'm like, because they've already figured that out. So I'm just going to gently lift that from them. But like
just a gentle lift.
Yeah. But I'm not stealing their business concept. I'm like, oh, that's how they're saying it. That's how I need to say it. Like, that's great. So like, you don't have to start from scratch. There's already people, but your perspective is what will make it unique.
Right.
So that, whether it's being a podcaster in Halifax or being a podcaster in your home studio or whatever, like all of those are different things.
Yeah.
But being the expert is a huge tip. So like everyone's very worried about AI and we probably should be and all that sort of stuff. But like if I was in marketing, if I like worked in marketing, I would be taking every course I could to become like an AI prompt genius for my company, so that when they start doing layoffs, they'd be like, well, he's our AI guy, so we have to keep him, kind of thing, right? Like, so establishing yourself as the expert and like getting on like breakfast television. When I was a producer, my job was to book all the guests, and people were like, how do I get on? I'd be like, what are you an expert in? I need someone to talk about this, how to make gluten-free cakes in 3 minutes.
Right.
Can you do that? Great. I don't need to know your whole story. I need you to teach me something in 3 minutes. So like have a specific niche, have a specific thing.
And to be known for that thing
exactly.
as well too.
Yeah. So like in it was funny. Calgary, I was more just like, it was early Perez Hilton days too. So I think I was sort of that for Calgary, but not the same content, but like it was like, oh yeah, there's like a funny guy who like talks about pulp culture in Calgary. Great, let's have him on and make fun of things. That's all like. What are funny websites? What are free things to do in Calgary? And like, but I would just be myself. Like I would just like I wasn't, because I had nothing to sell. So I was just like, oh, I don't know. This is what I do. I'm broke as shit. So this is what I do. Yeah.
No, I love that. So that's really great advice. So that's awesome. So I'll let you know how that goes.
Okay, great. I don't know.
That's gonna be awesome.
Yeah.
You just said something there interesting that when you went to when you went to the other event and you made some mistakes and you were in the hole like 80 grand or what have you. What lessons did you learn from that?
Budget. So like, here's a terrifying thing. I don't budget anything. But
that sounds crazy because you're doing an event and that requires a lot of planning and budgeting.
It's insane. Each of our events costs about $250,000, and like for a very, very long time, and I'm saying up until 4 months ago, it was vibes. It was like, I think we're okay. I think we're fine. Yeah, I'm gonna order those cakes. Yeah, like
we got enough.
What a horrible way of running a business. Terrible. Don't listen to me at all. So I have great accountants, and I now have hired a fractional CFO, and like I am an idiot when it comes to numbers. The second you bring up tax, I'm in a different planet. I don't know why.
That's boring.
But some people love it, and like I'm just like, I don't like they are a perfect example of like I'm paying them to do something I cannot do. So like right now I'm paying probably $8,000 a month for people to deal with numbers that I can't figure out.
And tax
yeah. And like, but it's worth it.
It's worth it.
Like, and so right after this call today, we have a budget meeting. My event person and me and our CFO are meeting to look at the numbers because this is the week that I spend the most money. Cause I'm like,
of course,
I'm like, oh yeah, no, do that. Yeah, do that. Da, 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 da. And they're
another
like,
intervention.
Yeah. And they're like, you need to know that you can only spend an extra $3,000. And I'm like, great, I will only spend $3,000 this week. You know, like,
yeah, work within that.
It's horrible. Definitely start with a budget. Again, AI makes all of that so much easier, but like, there's nothing like having the trust in, and even so like my accountant firm that I work with, when I hired a fractional CFO, they're like, oh, we do that too. And I was like, I know, I want two different people looking at it because I'm not trustworthy.
Yeah.
Like, so
especially with someone has access to your bank.
No, exactly. Yeah.
You got to be careful.
It's me. I'm not trustworthy. Like,
you're not? Okay.
I'm saying, don't listen to me. I'm going to give you a sense of, like, the other day, the guy was like, how much sponsorship do you have this year? I'm like, probably around this much. He's like, can you not say probably? He's like, do you know? It's all in your contracts. Where have you written it down? I'm like, I'm like, no, I don't know. And like, I'm like, I'll answer the questions as much. But like I said to both of them last week, I was like, I'm paying a lot of money and you guys are still asking me a lot of questions. I was like,
what am I paying you for?
You have all the access. Figure it out. Like, cause I was like, you don't have to wait for me. And like my partner in life, Richard, runs his own business as well. And he's very, 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 very smart. And like, he's now on those phone calls cause he's like, he hears different things. So he's like, hey, I'm going to help Mike out here too. So there's now 3 very smart people managing the money of my account, all because of that Vancouver thing. And like the fractional CFO will probably scale down over time. We don't know if he's listening to this, but he probably knows this, but like, I can't afford that much all the time, but he's building these budgets. And like, it does that cool thing where you put a number in here and it changes,
and then it changes
here.
The other one. Yeah,
that's so cool.
Yeah.
Like that's awesome.
Spreadsheeting.
You know, so it was that. It was, I don't think I was arrogant. I just thought I didn't understand why Calgary was so successful. And I didn't realize how much I had to do with that in terms of like it was a mic event. So going to Vancouver where I'm not known, where I have no presence, did not help me at all. And so it's funny though. So we lost so much money, but we didn't cancel it. We just went ahead and put on this great event. And it was like, I don't think anyone there knew how much we lost. It wasn't like we changed anything. It was like 2 weeks out when my partner looked, he's like, you're going to make us lose our house. So I was like, oh shit. Okay. And I was like, but I can't, like, I've promised all these things. And so full steam ahead and I'll figure it out after. And I was like, I'm never going to Vancouver again. And then the sponsors sort of came on board and said like, we really want Vancouver. I'm like, okay, we'll go back, but we're doing 1 day, 1 room. This was last year. And then we sold out almost instantly. And I was like, oh, fuck. I was like, what?
Should have done more.
What happened? So then we added a venue, added a second venue like a week before. But that cost so much more money because then we're trapped into a corner. So we can't negotiate with the AV. We can't negotiate with the venue. They're like, you need us. I'm like, oh, crap. And then same thing happened in Toronto last year. Our first year was fine. But then the second year sold so fast that we completely changed venues, lost $15,000 on our deposit. But I was like, I'm a month out and I'm sold out. Like, I don't want to be. I'm in Toronto finally, people are coming. I need more space. So I sacrificed that $15,000 to get the other venue. I don't think I made money on it, but like I got amazing photos and word of mouth and stuff that will make this year easier. This year we're in the same venue, the bigger venue now.
In Toronto.
In Toronto. But like I have all the collateral to make it easier to sell, I think. Yeah.
There's a couple things I want to do because we got to wrap up here too because I know your time is valuable. So you were talking about your Instagram and I do have one small thing here.
Oh no. What is it?
Nothing too big
at all. A Dollarama bag? It's my dream. What is it?
But.
Oh my God.
You were talking that I heard this about about always needing to make sure that you have chips, and that is one of the hardest things to remember. So I did get you some chips, and then some beef jerky as well too.
Jack Links, thank you so much to our friends Jack Links and Lay's.
Oh yeah.
Literally gluten-free snacks from Dollarama. I friggin' love it. And I'm gonna be honest. So last night I was really grumpy about something that we found out about the event, and I was like just grumpy about it. And the person, Lindsay Faithful, who she has a company called 25th Hour, and she runs all the logistics of our events. She's like, "How many score bars am I gonna need to buy you?" And I was like 10, because like score bars are like my like soother. Okay. Like they're like I was like 10. She's like, "Okay, great, I'll get them for you." And like literally when I see her today, I know she'll open her purse and she's like, "Here's 10 score bars." I'm like, "Thank you so much." So yes, I am driven by snacks. So thank you. That's great.
Nice.
Yeah.
To wrap up here, I just want to ask one last question about just entrepreneurships in general.
Yeah.
And if anybody that's listening to this is wanting to make the plunge for entrepreneurship, what kind of advice would you give them? What would you tell them today?
I would hopefully you have great friends around you who will tell you the truth. So like, I have this idea. No, like nothing drives me crazier than when I see a business open and like the logo is horrible or the name is horrible or the location is horrible. And I'm like, screw whatever bank gave you that loan to do that. Like, they should not have given you that based on that logo, based on that name. Like, because clearly you don't know what you're talking about. Like, you might be a really good chef. That has nothing to do if you're a really good business owner. Those are two very different things. Having people in your network, I have the best people in my network who, like, if I'm on TV and they're like, I get off air and they're like, never wear that shirt again. I'm like, okay, I just throw it out. Like, having those people who will tell you what's a good idea, what's a bad idea. A great example. So one thing, I had a crazy life where I also wrote a book called Calgary by Bike, and we sold 10,000 copies.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
It was called Bow by Bike, which is the Bow River, like 5 days before print. And my friend was like, Calgary by Bike is better. And I was like, no, you're right, it is. And I just we switched the graphic and like went to print, like, because even just having me explain to you what bow means, unless you, like, that's a hindrance. You know what Calgary is, you don't know what bow is. And like Chapters was selling it and all that stuff. And it was like so easy for people to grab because the name made sense. So having like, just really like, if you want to have a business, again, emulate what similar people are doing all over the world. You know, if you're opening a hamburger restaurant, there's billions of like, see what works, see what doesn't. But it's easy messaging. Branding matters way more than people realize. Like, just a nice logo. Like, I was at a restaurant recently and they like literally handed me a piece of paper for their menu. I'm like, so you did all of these things, but the thing that matters most, me holding that menu, was like an afterthought. Like, that stuff drives me bonkers. But they're not thinking about the customer. They're thinking that they're a really good chef or a really good whatever, but it's the customer you have to think about, kind of thing. And so, like with my team, like, no email goes unanswered with questions. Like, this is the week we'll get so many questions that we've all answered a million times, but we'll just, no problem, here you go, because we want everyone to come with as much information as possible. The other thing, just talking about the circle of trust, like with friends. So like, I don't think at this event, but Calgary especially, like, I will give a few tickets to some friends or some people who are between work. I'm like, here you go, text me everything throughout the day that you're liking and not liking. So like, the speaker's bad, it's cold, it's hot, this is too long. Like, tell me everything that the room is thinking before. I don't want to hear about it in the feedback. I want to be able to fix it now. So like, and then if it's really something, I'll go up on the stage and be like, hey guys, I know it's really cold in here. And like, that room is like, oh God, it's cool that he knew that it was cold in here, kind of thing, right? Like, but it's my friend that I don't know that. My friend told me that. I'm running around. I'm sweating. Like, so like, I think just having, like, it can't just be you. It can't, the secret launch doesn't work. You know, like the dropping the Beyonce album doesn't, out of nowhere, doesn't work for the normal person.
You're not
like
Beyonce.
Yeah, exactly. But also don't tease too long. It's this balance. You don't want to be like talking about this thing you're going to launch for 6 months. You're setting expectations. But like, I'll talk about my fake hair for a second. Like, I have fake hair. I got it last year.
What do you mean? Do you?
This is fake. Yeah, it's like a wig.
Oh,
it's like
okay.
glued on there.
Okay.
I got it last year.
Well, that's great. I didn't even notice. So
great. There you go. See, and we're very close to each other. like I was bald almost my whole life and I didn't care. That's fine. And then my friend,
no, I hear you.
like that, honestly, up until last August. And like, I never cared. I mean, I cared when I was like 20, but like at 40, I didn't care that I'd been like that longer than I had hair. But then I started seeing these things on TikTok, and I was saying to my friends, I'm like, guys, wouldn't this be funny if I did it? Like, And they like for my birthday last year, like, here you go, we bought you one, and it was like $1,000 for like the appointment and the hair.
Is it really that much? Eh?
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. It lasts, if you do it right, they last about 6 to 8 months. So, in theory, it's that. But like, I was like, okay, but I documented the whole thing. At no point was anyone surprised, and like, there's 2 reasons for that. One, I'd been bald my whole life. Obviously, me having hair out of nowhere, people are going to talk about it. So at least I own the story, you know, like, and I was like, I don't know if I'm going to do it. And this isn't permanent. Like, so I might take it off next year and just go back to bald. Like, it's not part of my identity. It's just something that's fun for me right now. But like owning that narrative and like allowing people to come with the journey with us. And like, if you're, when my friends' businesses are struggling, and I'm like, why don't people know that like, unless people buy 100 of these things, you're going to close. Like, I think you can ask your customers to step up in a tactful way, because if they love your product, they don't want you to go away.
Right. They want to support you.
Yeah. But like, you can only do that once, maybe twice. Like, they'll help you, but they need you to figure it out. You can't just keep relying on them. Be like, hey guys, I'm almost out, you know, like, so like during first 2 weeks of the pandemic, we held the webinar crisis, like what to do in a pandemic. No one fucking knew what to do in a pandemic. We had 800 people watching, and I just had 5 crisis people on. They were all just sharing what they were working on, so we started doing these twice a week webinars, and I said like, hey, as you guys know, my whole thing is paying people. I don't have money right now, so this is $25. You get this. If you give me $50, that means they all get paid. If you give me $100, I get paid, they get paid, and we can do this. And we made like 10 grand, and like.
Well, so you allowed the guests or the people registering to pick how much they would.
It was just like, yeah, it was sort of like pay what you can, I think. I don't really remember actually, but like I remember offering options, and almost everyone chose the more expensive one, because
that's cool.
I just said the truth, and they knew what was going on. And like lots of people weren't financially impacted by the pandemic. So I had a friend in Banff, I remember, she was working at the Banff Center, and during the pandemic, it's like the head of something, so she didn't get laid off. And she was like, I felt responsible for keeping the town of Banff open because I was the only one making money. Like like everyone lost everything. So I was like going around trying to buy as much things as I could, being like, I'm not impacted, like kind of thing. So yeah, I think there's that. There's nothing better than honesty in business, honestly. But it's not begging for things, but it's like, hey, we're a little low. We can do this if you all do this kind of thing. And it doesn't always work. I put on LinkedIn a few weeks ago, like we have rented a boat for Thursday night of SocialNext, and people have paid for it. And so we're doing it regardless. But like in my head, it was always going to be sponsored. I wasn't going to pay for it, but we didn't get a sponsor for it. So I put on LinkedIn, and I was like, this has literally never worked. Every time I put this last minute sponsor, but I'm going to try it anyway. Maybe it will. And it didn't work, but like people liked the dialogue of me being like, well, I do have this really cool opportunity. Literally, they're trapped on a boat with your brand. Do whatever you want with them. You know, like, you know,
whatever you want.
Like, honestly, like you need them to sign up. Great. They can't say no to you, you know, like something, you know, but like it didn't work. But like people appreciated that I was like trying, and like people suggest like, oh, talk to this person. Like one guy was like, talk to Red Bull. So I sent them a note. They're like, we're doing another event that week. Can't do it kind of thing. I was like, oh, that could have been, but now I have that Red Bull contact. So
who knows down the line.
So I think good. Okay. To answer your question, good group of people around you who will tell you the truth, tell you it's a good idea, tell you it's a bad idea. Be honest in a way that's comfortable for you. Obviously marketing has a bit of a, you know, put a polish on things. You never want people to feel bad for you. You want them to feel like they can support you. And then also make sure it's something you really want to do. I realized a few months ago, maybe, I think it was, this is the longest job I've ever had. And it's one that I created. And I can tell you, I have no interest in wrapping things up. And like, cause I'm still enjoying it so much. And that is so important in this entrepreneur. Like, you have to enjoy what you're doing. You have to be able to evolve. You always have to have I think you always have to have an off-ramp and exit strategy. So like if my events stopped selling, I would probably move to a big tech company and be their event person, because I know how to do it super easily now. Like, that's my exit plan in a way. That's one of 20. Death is one. That is like, like bus, jump in front of a bus. No. So I think just being really realistic, but going along for the ride. It's such a ride. It's so fun. I never get a vacation day, but I don't care. Like,
because it's not work. It's work, but it's also
it's work
you
and
enjoy
it's not
it.
work. But the idea of asking someone in a room with no windows if I can have next Monday off and they say no, that drives me to make sure I never, like.
That is 100%. I'm exactly with you. I remember hearing some stuff of what you said about that, and I'm the same way. Like, just the fact that I have to ask permission to take my kids somewhere. Like,
I can't do it.
Like, I'm an adult.
And I get
like,
that 99% of the population does. I've somehow figured out a way that I don't have to, and I don't want to go back to that. Like, I'm like, I can't go back to that.
That's true.
Like,
it's fine. A lot of people love the 9 to 5 because they could just go to work and then do their work and then come home and just forget about it. And that's great too, right?
To know that you have a salary, to know that no matter what you did that day, your salary is the same. Like, there's lots of benefits to it.
Oh, absolutely.
I can't do it. I couldn't do it at the oil and gas, at the university, at breakfast television. Like, breakfast television, I'd write the whole show. Like, it'd be like Tuesday and the whole week was booked and written. I'm like, why am I here? I'm like, because you have to be. Oh.
Yeah, even though the work's done.
This is so stupid. Like, I was like, I can go do other things. But so you have to enjoy it. And you also can't, so much advice. I don't love the hard launch. Like, we're launching Halifax's best magazine ever. Da 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 da. Like, well, you've set the bar very high. And now you've also pissed off all the other people that have magazines here, because you've said that their magazines are shit. So they're not going to help you. I'm using Halifax. I'm thinking of a specific Calgary example, but like, that's what happened. They said, like, finally it's a magazine, a publication that tells real Calgary stories. Well, we have 4 of those already. So how are you different? And you've just pissed off everyone that likes those magazines and pays for those and stuff like that, because you just told them that their product sucks.
That's
for no reason.
Yeah.
For no reason.
I have a question from that real quick before we wrap up here.
I don't.
So on my website,
I was like, I can't, you're in the calendar for the listeners and watchers and readers. I said, is it for 4 hours? I was like, I can't do 4 hours. And here we are. I could 2 already. This is insane. All right.
Yeah, I do need to fix that. Anyways, on my website, I have Piixel Podcast Studio, Halifax's premier podcast studio, or something like that.
What makes it premier?
Well, that's the thing that I was going to ask you now. So the way that I think about it is because from what I've seen, I got the camera set up, I got the gear, we got all the height. You're going to look. I haven't seen, so again, I don't know everyone, but I haven't seen that. So I say it's premier because of the service that you're going to get with me and how I'm going to walk you through the whole process. I sit down there, I walk you through everything, all that kind of stuff. So that service of everything. So that's why I say that. But maybe it's more of a marketing. Maybe that's not being honest. I
wouldn't know. To me, when I hear the word premiere, it honestly feels like you're hiding something.
Okay.
I don't know why. I could be wrong. That's just like, premiere. Why? What makes you premiere? Like, what is that service, right? And like, this is amazing. We are in your apartment. I did have to drive 30 minutes to,
outside.
But I'm just saying. So there's detriments to that word, because it's strange to be in someone's house. This is a great house. I love it. I want to live in here. It's beautiful. But like, it's not common, right? So I think can't think of the word right now. What I would do is literally just describe everything you said that you guys do and put it into AI and be like, what's this word?
Well,
like, what's a word that I'm describing, and say it said, I'm just going to use Halifax is most personal. Most, you could do like most affordable or most whatever. Like,
I just not that descriptive. That puts like, why are you saying that? I get it.
Something.
I get it.
That's what I would do. But like, also I touched on this. Go to any event site. At no point does it ever say what that speaker is talking about. All they promote is that speaker is going to be there. And I'm like,
because it's a really cool person.
Yeah, but I'm like, how do I know what they're going to be like? It's a marketing conference. I'm just supposed to assume they're going to be talking about a specific type of marketing that's interest to me. Every one of our speakers, it says, it's just a topic, but then I work with them to be like, don't give me friggin' cheesy topic. I want the topic to explain exactly what you're going to talk about. And when they fill out the form, I make them say like, what are the 3 things people are going to walk away from? I make them click that it's not going to be a commercial. Like I do all these things, these action points. But it's like giving people as much information as possible makes it easier for them to reach out to you. This old internet marketing, but like once you have them on your site, that's the best chance you'll ever get. They're probably not going to come back,
right?
Because they'll get distracted by 40,000 other ads. So like on your site, it needs to be easy to understand what your business is, how much it is. Like email for price, I'm never emailing you. Yeah. Ever.
Oh no, I hate that too. It's
stuff like
prices,
that, right?
My prices
like,
are right there.
I want to know
like,
I want to know. I thought about putting our sponsor rates on our website. I go back and forth because American sponsors pay way more. So they're like, the people in my world are like, if they were going to give you double, don't paint yourself into a kind of thing, corner. Right? But yeah, I think like making everything as easy as possible.
Yeah.
Right now, and writing people back when they write you, like all that stuff. Like I don't know how many forms I've filled out for things and I just never hear back.
Yeah.
And I'm like, where did it go? Where did it end up? Like where did it? Yeah. I hate filling out forms. I want an email address because I don't know where that form goes. I have to believe that you know where that form goes and that the webhook is set up right or whatever. I don't know any of that stuff. Like again, if go to our event website within 30 seconds, you know everything you have to know about our event to make a decision if you're coming or not.
It's even crazier now. You almost have to make them make that decision within like a split second.
Even that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like a crazy video showing how busy it is. I have photos. If you're a sponsor, I can give you all that data.
Yeah.
But if you're like, you want to see a photo of a real room, a big room with people in it, so you know you're not walking into an empty room. You want to know who's speaking and you want to know how much it is. All of that is on like the first panel of our page without you having to scroll down.
Yeah.
And that's not design. That's me as a customer being like, when I go to a website, I don't need any of this. I don't need any of this junk. I just need the information.
It's one of the reasons why, because you asked me earlier what I do before, and a lot of stuff I did with web design, web development. And one of the reasons why I got out of it is because I find that a lot of designers want to design things that look so pretty. They want to win awards, but it's not even functional.
Yeah.
Because you go to these sites, like these animations, but it doesn't even load. It takes like 5 seconds to load.
Yeah.
It's just ridiculous. I'm like, to make a website that works for people, that's really good. It's so simple and it's so basic.
Yeah.
And you don't even need me to do it. Like it's so easy.
You know what that is though, so you're that you're that artist customer. So they're not thinking about your customer. Right. So they're not thinking about what they're thinking about you. So you are, you might be impressed by a really fancy graphic, but if you're not thinking about your customer to be like, I actually don't need that. I need super simple. I think everything we do is so simple. If you go to our Instagram, the ads everything is like so basic. And I think, it probably drives people crazy because I think the theme of this podcast episode is just like, oh, I didn't know it was that easy. like if a guy who doesn't budget can do this, maybe I can do it as long as I'm focused on the right things. Like, please budget. I'm an idiot. Don't not budget. I recently, for my 25th high school reunion, pulled out my high school transcript, literally like 51 in math. Like I remember my teacher passing me in grade 12 because he's like, you came to tutoring, you tried really hard.
Put forth the effort.
It would be cruel of me to fail you because you're not going to do any better next year. And I was like, aces, thanks, bye. Trust yourself, but have people who will tell you the truth. It's okay. It's also okay to give up on something. So if it's not working and you're the only one suffering, like your bank account, like call and try something else. Like,
how do you know when it's time to try something else versus to keep plugging away?
I think for me with Vancouver, losing all that money was there were still 300 people that bought tickets. So I was like, okay, so if I just moved to a venue with 300 people, that would have been fine. Like, so if I'd paid attention to the signs more, it would have been fine. But like, if you've exploited every avenue and it's still not working, it's probably something that you have to change about your idea. I'm not saying quit being an entrepreneur, this particular thing. Like I've launched aspects of SocialNext that I've never followed up on because I announced it a bit, sort of read the feedback. I was like, people didn't really care about that. Like that's fine. I still want to do, so one is like, I want to have my own speaker network of people who like the people I meet, and I want to help people get more speaking gigs, but I don't want to be a full-fledged speaker company because that's a whole other thing. Yeah. We have a website for it. It's launched. No one has ever clicked on it because I haven't done a job, but like that is still something I really want to do. And once we stabilize, it's always about stabilizing. So like, we've been in a great trajectory the last 2 years, and I want to just find out where it's going. I don't want to just assume we've basically doubled the last 2 years. I don't want to assume we're always going to be doubling. I want to find where that point is, where the echelon, I guess. And then I want to try the other things like, okay, team, you can do this. I'm going to go focus on this now because I still believe in this kind of thing. But
so it sounds like getting feedback though is a pretty important thing. Then, eh?
I don't do anything without running it by my like friends, my even sponsors. Like, hey guys, I think I'm going to do this. You're my 5 sponsors. Do you like this? And I'm like, no. I'm like, okay, great. Like, I'm not married to anything, like I'm not, but I think people want to surprise people more than people want to be surprised. So we do all these contests at our events to make sure people are leaving reviews. Cause that's the part I do read. I do now toss it through A, because I put like tell me something you didn't like, and that's obviously the first thing I read, and I get so mad reading all of it kind of thing. But my people will be like, you specifically asked them to say they didn't like something. Yeah. That's what that is. I'm like, I know, but like they don't know that I did this and all these things. But like the feedback, I take all of it. I really do. I take all of it, and that forms my decisions.
But also try not to take it personally.
Yeah, it's not personal. It's not personal. Most of what's so great is most of these people who come to our events have no idea who I am anymore. So I barely even speak. Like, I'm, hi, good morning, welcome, here are our hosts. They take it from here. Yeah. So like I can sort of be that person that's watching a bit more, and they don't know that I'm the convener and
guy in the shadows.
Yeah. And they're like talking shit about me. I'm like, hey, no, I'm just kidding. So, thank you so much for these chips and these beef jerky. I'm so excited. I had a banana today, so this is going to be exciting.
Well, there we go. Yeah, but thank you so much for coming, Mike. It was an absolute pleasure.
Thank you.
I'm so happy that you stopped by today and you've made time in your busy schedule.
Oh, it's great. I'm so excited. And you're going to be hosting all our podcasts at Social East. I'm so excited. You're going to do a great job.
Super looking forward to that, and to even just seeing the event as well too. And it's going to be awesome.
Awesome. So thank you so much for the opportunity.